Hey guys, Brent Boyer again from Adam. So I wanted to talk, let's talk divorce. I wanted to talk today about an issue that came up when I was meeting with a client, someone that we had not done his divorce case, but he came to us after the fact, about a year later, and was looking for some advice and guidance on what had gone on with the house and how they settled the property and the property settlement that they did in the divorce case, and what exactly went on and what to do from there. So please remember to like and subscribe to the video. That would help. So this client got divorced, and he made an agreement in his divorce that he was going to buy the house, and they had this whole thing worked out of how much money he owed his ex-wife for some buyouts on some personal property and some other things, and a whole arrangement set up that he would keep the house and then he was going to live there, buy out her share of the equity, and buy out, I think it was like a car and some other things, doesn't matter. There was a bottom line, there was a number they'd agreed on, a dollar amount they'd agreed, that he would keep it, he owes her this number, and then their agreement was that he would have 90 days to then refinance after they were divorced, 90 days to refinance, take her name off the mortgage. So basically the facts at the time of the divorce were they owned a house together. They'd been married for more than 15 years. And the mortgage was only in the wife's name. Husband's name was not even on the mortgage. And they had over $100,000 in equity in this house. So the agreement was going to be husband was going to take the house. He was going to buy it, basically buy it from his wife. He was going to refinance. He owed her half of the equity plus some other money. And then that's how they were going to do this. But then, come to find out, husband at the time had not filed a tax return for a couple of years, so he had some tax issues. So he needed to get those cleared up first. And he went to a refinance company, and then he had some trouble, and then had to go to a second refinance company, and his credit wasn't as good as he thought it was, and the tax issues took longer than he thought, and next thing you know, it's way beyond 90 days for the deadline that he had to refinance this house. So by the time he came to me for advice, now it's been almost a year, and there's still this thought of he's going to somehow keep this house, which of course is way beyond, at this point that's not happening. So where did this go wrong? So where this went wrong, first of all, is when you're looking at what to do with a house in a divorce case, in a property settlement situation, one question you would ask with a house, normally there's three options with houses. You keep it, your wife keeps it, or you sell it and split the money. Those are usually your three choices. So with this situation, the only person on the mortgage was the wife. So normally, my advice, if I had been the attorney at the time, would have been, if you're not even on the mortgage, it's probably not really a good plan for you to be going in and trying to keep this house. So the best two choices here would be sell it and split the money, or your wife keeps it and buys out your share of the equity. Those would be your best path. The third path of husband's going to somehow keep it after he refinances and qualifies and buys her. There's a lot of things that have to happen to make that a reality. Might not be a good goal, might not be a realistic goal. Now you could do that, and that was what he pursued. Was he said, well, I want to keep the house for whatever reason. So he agrees to that, but the mistake then that gets made is he doesn't pre-qualify for a loan. So in other words, if I'm working out this agreement with my client and I'm the attorney and I'm here giving him advice, my advice would be, well, if you're going to keep the house and you're not even on the mortgage, then you need to go to a mortgage company and go to a lender and get pre-qualified, just like you would if you were buying a house. Get a letter from them saying, yes, you're able to borrow this money, plus the money needed to buy out wife's, soon-to-be ex-wife's share of the equity. And now you're all set. Now if we're making an agreement, we're at mediation or we're at a settlement meeting, whatever it might be, and we're going to agree, we have some strength to negotiate here, because we can say husband wants to keep the house and he can qualify to pay off the mortgage, refinance it, take wife's name off the mortgage, put it in his name only. He can keep the house and buy out her share of the equity. So this client did none of that, and he's not a lawyer, so he doesn't know all that. He got bad advice, didn't know that that's how he should have done it. And here he is an entire year later still anguishing over what should I do or what can't I do or what are my options or how does this work. And this is just not how this should have gone. So the idea on a house would be if one of the parties, the husband or the wife, is talking about keeping the house in the divorce, and they're not on the mortgage, or maybe it's a joint mortgage. They need to get financing. They need to get proof that they can refinance the house, take the other person off the mortgage, because you're not going to be in a situation where you get divorced and you're stuck on the other person's mortgage. You get divorced and you're stuck on your wife's mortgage. That's not a good plan. Now, sometimes that's the way to go and there's no choice. If there's no equity or there's no way to refinance the home and you're both on the mortgage, be that as it may. That wasn't the situation of this client. He was in a situation where his wife was the only one on the mortgage, so he could have just walked away scot-free. No worries. I'll go find another house. There's lots of houses out there, right? So instead of that, he gets into this complicated deal where he's going to buy her out and refinance and qualify, and then he runs into this whole mess of he can't qualify for financing. There's all these issues, and there's tax problems he wasn't aware of because they owned a business together, and it's no good. So you want to avoid these kind of pitfalls by getting proper advice. Before you make an agreement, make sure you're getting an advice from an expert, somebody that knows divorce and family law, not somebody that your buddy recommended who's like a family attorney and did his DUI or something. You need an expert. You need somebody that's a divorce and family law attorney that can look at the deal you're trying to make and look at it from all sides and look at how it's going to go. Because these problems that this client had were foreseeable to a divorce attorney. This wasn't like some big shock and things changed. There were problems. He had an issue with credit. He had an issue with a couple of years of tax returns that hadn't been filed. And he had an issue with joint income on a business that was jointly owned with soon-to-be ex-wife. All of that added up to, this is not good. This is a no-go. So, would have been foreseeable. Could have saved him a lot of headache and a lot of trouble. And I hate to see that. So I want other people to be able to learn from these mistakes that happen in divorces. So I hope that helps. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.